Good game day morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally just does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up those football gods here. We got it made today. This is week 13, and unfortunately for the Cowboys, it was lucky 13 because we got a victory. Thank God we got a victory over the New Orleans Saints. I know the talking heads, of course, are saying, I'm not impressed because, New Orleans is a bad team and this, that. You know what? Go pound sand. I don't give a rat's ass. I will take my victory and take it up to 8-4 and be very, very happy on this do or die Sunday. This is do or die Sunday for the NFC East, as well as a lot of teams. Your playoff hopes really start beginning today, because if you do not start making a change and start heading in the right direction, your season's over with. Right now, the Washington football team, surprisingly at 5-6, are the number 2 seed in the NFC East and the number 7 seed in the NFL. Is it possible that this year, that beyond last year's division leading Washington at 7-9 that made the playoffs, that there'll actually be a wild card team under 500? The new format going to 7. Now, here's the thing. On the bubble, right there in the chase, are the Minnesota Vikings lurking. And they play the Lions today. So there's pressure on the Washington football team to get that win against the Raiders. The Falcons, believe it or not, they're right there, 5-6. They get a win over Tampa Bay. They're starting to be in the conversation. And what definitely must be Custard's last stand. The Eagles cannot afford to have a hiccup today against the Jets. This is one of those ones that they should be cruising right through. But so was last week against the New York stinking Giants, and they lost, putting up a mere 7 points. And we're hearing Jalen Hurts is hurt. Jalen Hurts will be a game-time decision with his ankle. So even if he plays, he will be limited. And let's be clear here. Jalen Hurts' legs are like his arm, because he is a running threat more than he is a passing threat. And his passing threat comes from his running ability. You take that away, you're looking at the second coming of RG3, year 2. Then there's the Carolina Panthers, still lurking at 5-7. New Orleans, who still has life at 5-7. And believe it or not, the New York stinking Giants. This, again, is Custer's last stand. They have to get a win against the Miami Dolphins that they are underdogs in. So the chances of the New York Giants making the playoffs, let's be clear, it's slim and none. And I'd be taking the none. For the Saints, it's the same thing. It's really the Eagles that need to step forward and get that 6th win, and the Washington football team in the NFC East. For us, we get to relax. We get to take it easy. We get to heal. And we start thinking about all the players that will be coming back this week. The team gets back on the field tomorrow, gets back at the Star tomorrow in preparations for Sunday's game. And they have had several days of good rest and probably good feelings going into this mini bye week. Today, we will be live streaming. I know my buddy Rio will be here. E2 Blue will be here. I'm not sure if Rashid's coming or not. In fact, I've got to go out and pick up a few things. I'm not going all crazy with a whole bunch of stuff because the Cowboys aren't playing. I don't need Joe Boo wings when the Cowboys aren't playing. But we're going to, of course, eat because, us fat brothers got to eat. So one other note before we get ready to get out of here, because I got to get set up, is the football game next weekend. All I can say is, wow. With everything that's gone on with COVID and everything else, I've had reservations about, doing a lot of stuff. That's why we ended up doing the outdoor studio. They say you're safer outdoors as opposed to indoors. And the tailgate seems to be growing by the minute. At last count, we have 65 tickets. 65 tickets. We're going to be in club level section 325. We have seats in row 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. We're literally taking over that section. That will literally be the Joe Boo Sports Report section right there. And it's going to be a beautiful thing. We're going to be tailgating, so I'm going to be busy this week getting everything out, ready to go. At the moment, the long-range forecast, which is always subject to change, has the temperature in the 50s, but a chance of rain. Now, we know the weatherman can't seem to get shit right tomorrow versus a week from now. So it will change, I'm sure, by then. Who knows? It might be snowy and 15 degrees, or it might be 65 and sunny, because that's weather in Washington, D.C. But for our Cowboys, we should be feeling pretty good right now that we're 8-4, that we weathered the storm. And as I was laying in bed this morning with my beautiful wife, 18 years of waking up next to her, I am truly blessed. I said, it's so funny. I said, when I say things a lot of times, people are kind of like, yeah, whatever. I tell people, first couple of games of the season, I say you really don't know what teams are in September, because you have some teams that come out, they start out real hot. You could say Carolina and Denver. Both of them went 3-0. And you looked at that and said, oh, my God, Denver and Carolina, they're great teams. And I said, some teams have cushy beginning. You don't know really what the good teams are. You go by the schedule of who's tough from the year before. You don't really know until the season goes on. And so, you think about it. Last year, people were saying, oh, you got to play the 49ers. Oh, you're playing the 49ers. And you're playing the 49ers. The 49ers were terrible. Remember, everybody was talking about Washington. Oh, Washington, great team. But they aren't. They're playing better now. But they're not the team that people thought they were going to be. And then when the Cowboys were in the midst of the 6-game winning streak, and everybody's, oh, we're going 15-1. I'm like, dudes, slow your roll. Slow your roll, I said, because there's going to be bad patches. I said, I don't expect the team to go 15-1. Some of y'all think that, you get on a roll that you're going to be, you're not going to ever lose a game again. But that's not the case in football. You will have highs and lows. And we had that low in November where we had the rash of injuries, and we had all those games crammed together. And that's kind of like what I was forecasting. And now you have the opportunity where you have the division games. Division games are always tough, but the Cowboys have been great in their division. This is the time for the Cowboys to start feasting and actually starting to get the team together that they envisioned. Understand that this past week was the first time that we had Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith, and all of our wide receivers together in the same game. And we have yet to have Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill, and Randy Gregory on the field together. We've had bits and pieces of these guys, but we'll finally get Gallimore back. And that is going to change that defensive line and that defensive front, where you already know Micah Parsons is one of the best pressure guys in the NFL right now. Randy Gregory is pretty damn good. And then all of a sudden you get two big boys in the middle. All of a sudden, as the weather gets colder and it gets harder and harder to do stuff, and as teams are trying to run, we are stepping up our game and trying to get ready for this stretch run towards the playoffs. I feel good about the Cowboys. And I'm going to enjoy kicking back with watching Rio sweating it out, because he's got everybody in his rearview mirror right now coming for what they have at the moment. I'm going to be watching Philly 500. We'll have the meltdown cam and see how he's sweating, because if they lose to the Jets, well, it's time to get the golf cart clubs out. So with that being said, I got to get set up for our live stream, and I hope you guys will be here. We'll be starting out at 12:45, watching the Giants versus the Miami Dolphins without Daniel Jones. And we'll be watching, of course, the Eagles going against the Jets, which should be a snooze fest, maybe without Jalen Hurts. And then we'll see the Washington football team taking on the all of a sudden hot Raiders. And we'll go ahead and make a day of it. I'm Mark Holmes, and, well, you know how we roll. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report.
You did one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is